me officially kick off this session of the US-Nigeria Business Council Real Business Talk webinar. The objective of this webinar series is to engage with the community, engage with the business world, engage with the policy makers, engage with people in governments and people in even non-profits, how we can improve the volume of trade between the US and Nigeria. And we focus each month on specific topics on the economy. We focus on topics that directly impact the people, that directly impact the present and the future of the economic prosperity of Nigeria. Today, in this generation, what has taken the limelight is artificial intelligence. And there are so many areas we can engage this in our respective communities, in our sectors. So today we're looking at how AI can bridge education gaps and increase literacy in Nigeria. And we particularly want to make sure we engage AI, not just in education, but also in trade and development. And to anchor to this program, we have the moderator, Ms. Mokpelola Amusu. Let me make a quick introduction of Ms. Amusu. She's an entrepreneurial coach, and she spent so many years in banking sector, holding senior level positions. She's founder of a manufacturing startup which promotes the use of 100% natural materials to solve hair and skin care frictions for people of color. Ms. Mokwelola is a moderator of highest ranking, and she's extremely adept at integrating sessions to make sure we get the most from those sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hand you over to Ms. Mokwelola Amusu to direct the affairs of today. Over to you, Ms. Mokwelola.
Thank you, Engineer Logan. I honor you, sir. I truly do, not just for steering the ship of the USNBC, but for being such an exemplary leader. I do mean that, apart from the fact that you still owe me lunch at the Red Lobster Atlanta, but we'll not talk about that now.
Yes, I'll keep that promise.
Oh, I'm going to hold you to that. Thank you for another opportunity to be part of the Council's efforts to afford members the chance to broaden their perspectives, to widen their horizons for potential investment. I am honored once again to moderate this business talk. So let's get to the business of the day. Esteemed ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to the March edition of the US-Nigeria Business Council's webinar tagged Business Talk. Our promises to you is that as you tune to these bi-monthly series, you will gain insights from the guest resource persons and thought leaders that the Council will be bringing to you. What other benefits would you expect to get? Well, as the head honcho has said, to network with stakeholders in the US and Nigeria business community. You'll be updated on latest trends and developments in trade, investment, and economic relations between the two countries. Now, if you join us on these webinars, you are opportune to actively contribute to the discussion to generate actionable recommendations, both on the platform of government and investment strategies on the part of the business community. For this cause, the Council invites stakeholders from private and public sectors. Okay, before I introduce our speakers for today, I would like to go over some ground rules. So please pay attention. Our keynote speaker will have 20 minutes or less to present on the subject matter. If you have a question or a comment, please take a note of it and do not forget it. At the end of the second presentation, you will get a chance when we have an audience Q&A session. You get a chance to make your contribution by either raising an electronic hand or typing in the chat box. Now, you can do this for 20 minutes. We only have a 20-minute window for this audience engagement. So please keep your contribution short. You have 2 minutes. And by the way, we have a timekeeper. So when you hear a bell, it means that you must stop your contribution. Also, we are a house of honor. So please try and keep to these rules because we are also a house of discipline. Keep your microphone mute at all times, except when you are speaking. And please don't forget, when you end your contribution, mute yourself again. Turn off your video feed if you're not paying rapt attention to the proceedings, because whatever is happening around you may distract other participants. And desist, please, from typing in the chat box during the presentation, because that can be distracting to not just the presenters, but to the audience. I anticipate your cooperation, so I'm going to thank you ahead for it. Today, the theme of the webinar is how artificial intelligence can bridge education gap and increase literacy in Nigeria. Our keynote speaker is Mr. Kayode Aladeshi. You know, my favorite definition of an entrepreneur is someone who has enough empathy to identify frictions in any society, in whatever sector, and is willing to put himself out there to solve the problem without fear of disrupting the status quo. Of course, as he introduces his solutions to the marketplace, he will make good profit. But then again, that's just the reward for doing what others do not or fear to do. Mr. Oluwakayode Aladeshi is a founder and CEO of My AI Robotics, an artificial intelligence and robotic engineering firm that creates innovative AI solutions for various industries and sectors. He also serves as the Chief Creative Officer, managing the functional design and user experience for product development. He leads and guides the organization's ethical policies regarding the development of AI. The company product portfolio includes conversational AI agents and an AI opinion search engine. Before My AI Robotics, Olukayode managed two publicly traded companies, including East Coast Diversified Corporation, which traded on the NASDAQ. He was published in the New York Times as one of the early pioneers of commercial GPS technology. He has a track record of building tech products. He developed Logibox, a real-time cargo tracking solution which integrates radio frequency integration, that's RFID, and the Global Positioning System, GPS. He also built Student Connect, and this is interesting, a software as a service application for monitoring and protecting student bus riders, getting on and off school buses, which was deployed in several countries, including the UAE, Lebanon, and the United States of America. Another feather in his cap, among numerous other technology products, is the development and skillful management of the first national emergency system in Nigeria, the Hawkeye Crime Management and Reporting System. Driven by his mission to create positive social change through AI and robotics, Mr. Aladeshi holds several trademarks and patents both in Nigeria and the USA. Kayode will speak on how AI can improve education and literacy in Nigeria. He will give a brief overview of the current state of the Nigerian education system, highlighting causes and consequences of illiteracy. He will then proffer AI-powered educational tools and platforms to solve education frictions, even in the training and support of teachers who ultimately will be the drivers of education reform. I bid you a warm welcome, Mr. Aladeshi. You have 20 minutes. Please take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Amusu, for the wonderful introduction. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to join everyone here today. And hopefully I will share enough information that will make sense on how we can improve literacy in Nigeria, our great country. Just to give you a background, how I came about this project and the discussion around this project. I saw the Prime Minister of Taiwan on the internet chatting, and he said to myself, and he said to the public, Taiwan has about 98% literacy rate. They have no resources, no natural resources, absolutely nothing. And he made jest that Nigeria has about 60% literacy rate. And that kind of caught my attention. And I said to myself, this is a serious problem. The reason we have Boko Haram in Nigeria and all the terrorism is because of illiteracy, lack of education. And one of the things that have always challenged me about Nigeria is not that we lack the skills to transform our country, but we, in my view, at least, we have very highly educated people, but we're missing deep thinkers. And deep thinkers are problem solvers. That's all they do. They think deeply and they think about solutions to solving problems. And I've looked at two key issues in Nigeria that have been near and dear to my heart and create a program, at least on paper, that can help to transform the country. One was creating mass jobs, middle-class jobs across the country. And the second was, how do we solve the education problem in Nigeria? As an executive in the AI industry, I feel like AI has handed Africa an opportunity of a lifetime, the opportunity to catch up with the rest of the world. Because many of the things that the rest of the world has held or has used against us are now highly achievable in a very, very short time. AI can close the gap between Africa and the rest of the world. And the cornerstone for that is education. Without education, Africa is not going anywhere. We can build all the bridges and all the beautiful roads that we want. The kids that are not educated are going to come in at night and steal all your pipes off your roads, steal all your lights off your road, even break your concrete to go mix concrete to be for home builders. So we must educate. So from my perspective, education is a cornerstone for Africa to evolve in the next economy, global economy. So I began to think, how do we educate 10 million out-of-school children? How do we improve education for 27 million children, okay, that are currently performing poorly? Over 60 million Nigerians, about 30% of our population, are illiterate. Quite honestly, I think that number is low. In my view, the level of literacy is actually much higher from my perspective, because when you really think about it, education is not just about, literacy is not just about having gone to school. If you've gone to school and you've graduated college and you don't understand how democracy works, you're still an illiterate for all intent and purposes. So education for Nigeria actually requires significant growth for us to be able to play on a global scale. Overview of the education system in Nigeria. Nigeria education system is structured into formal sectors, including primary, secondary, and tertiary education, each with a distinct role. In addition, the informal education system is very significant, but it's not producing students or graduates that meet international standards. And what I mean by that, you have bricklayers, carpenters, and mechanics that do shoddy work. because they've never been professionally trained. This is a huge industry in Nigeria. How do we improve that education system, even the informal one, to make this market very viable and be a top 10 economy in the world? The challenges of education in Nigeria is huge. The first is the shortage of tutors. We don't have enough teachers. And even the teachers we have, some of them are not very well trained to be teachers. They may have the degrees. And then we have extreme teacher strikes almost all the time that disrupt education. So we've got to figure out how to solve this problem. There are some very specific barriers to education. Economic constraint is one of them. I'm sure every single one of us at this table have seen how politicians use poverty during election, where economic constraint cause people to make bad decisions, unable to send their children to school. Inadequate schools in rural areas. You go to rural Nigeria and you barely find school. And if you find schools, they're under a tree with a thatched roof, with students still sitting outside under a tree on the ground. You know, you have society norms and early marriage that prevent children, that push children into, girls especially, into early marriage, denying them access to education and forcing them into situations that is unpalatable to our objective of literacy. Budgetary constraint. How does the government come up with money to educate 10 million out of, or 12 million now to be correct, out of school children, 27 million students that are doing very poorly? When you put those numbers together, those numbers put together is bigger than the population of Ghana, an entire country. So Nigeria has a population of illiterate that is more than an entire country's population. That's a serious problem. What are the causes and consequences of illiteracy? Socioeconomic factor, lack of educational resources, cultural barriers, perception and practices like Boko Haram saying girls should not go to school. Consequences to the society is very significant. We have things like cultism, and kids are going into Yahoo because they're not educated enough to see how they can grow financially in life. So they begin to devolve into other forms of activities that is very bad for the society. So we have to make a concerted effort to train and educate our children. They are the future of Nigeria. Right now, be honest with you, regardless of all the resources that we have in Nigeria, because of poor education, the future looks quite bleak for Nigeria. The government may do great things today, but the future is in trouble for Nigeria because of illiteracy in that country and what's happening to the youth in that country. AI-powered education. As I said in my introduction, AI is changing everything. AI has given Africa an opportunity that it could not have achieved in 50 years. When you think about AI platforms like DeepSeek, that no longer require expensive GPU to develop AI tools, we should be using AI to create our own medications, drugs that we need for the ill and the sick. AI can help us create the formulas to develop these things on our own. AI can help us plan our cities for efficiency. AI can tell us the most efficient way to power our country. AI can do a lot of things that we found difficult to do in the past. And education is an area that AI can begin to show us the best way to grow Africa. The first thing that I find as the #1 barrier in Nigeria when it comes to education is you have a lot of young people that don't even speak English. They don't speak English. How do you educate a 15-year-old or 18-year-old who doesn't speak English? In some areas, you have Nigerians who can't even speak pidgin English. Forget English. that can't even speak pidgin English. So the first step, and one of the biggest weaknesses for Africa, is that everything we've attempted to learn has been in English. How about we start teaching everything in our native languages? AI has now given this tool to us. I can take an entire chemistry book and teach it to a student in Hausa, teach it to a student in Igbo, teach it to a student in Yoruba, teach it to a student in Bibio, Efik, Edo, Tiv, Fulani, Idioma, Ijo. If they need to do business with the outside world, they can then learn English and learn to do these things in English. But the first thing that AI has delivered to us now is the ability to educate students in our own language. And when we do, these students will on their own learn English. Okay? AI for inclusivity and accessibility, very, very critical. One of the things that AI does is it can reach a lot of people virtually. And the solution to education in Nigeria can now be developed on a mass scale using AI. These what I'm about to discuss now, these are the ideas that I formulated in my mind on how Nigeria can become fully literate within the next 5 years. The government must consider mass education. And the way to do it is very simple. It's something that I've even considered. If government choose not to do it, the private individuals can do it on their own because it's not complicated. But we will still require government support. And the way to do mass education instead of building schools, the challenge for most of these governors and most of the states is building schools. Building schools in every city and every village is difficult, but we have 774 local governments. You build education institution, a facility in each local government capable of holding up to 500 computer desks and systems. And you deploy AI tools into those education centers. And you make education at those facilities free up to secondary school for anybody that wants to go to school. One of the things that I do in my company with AI, at least with all the projects we develop, is that we have a saying, everything we do is the integration of human wisdom with AI intelligence. And the same apply here. You hire teachers. Their job is not to teach the students. Their job is to collaborate with AI on teaching the students. And this way you are able to address the shortage of tutors because AI will do the teaching and the teachers will engage AI on how to customize, personalized education for each individual student. And here's how it works. On one of the platforms that we currently have now, we have businesses who are using our AI tools. We have what we call a training platform. Within that training platform, the AI tools we have do sales. A business can come into the training platform and go to their human AI and say, listen, I no longer want you to use the word buy when you talk to my customer. I want you to use the word investment. That's human wisdom engaging AI intelligence. At that point, when AI goes out on sales, it no longer uses the word buy, it uses the word intelligent. The same platform, we can customize it for teachers to sit down with an AI and say, this student is failing in chemistry. Give me a statistical analysis. Is he intelligent enough for science classes? And you can pretty much define the skill set and train students only in those things that they're good at, and you move them in that direction, and you teach them in that direction. So the teachers are now engaging AI. AI is shooting data about performance, capability. Teachers are studying the performance and capability of each student, engaging the AI on each student, and giving customized training. This is the kind of education system that will transform Nigeria. And one of the things that we have to do to address the cultural norm, because in our country, a lot of children work with their parents or work for their parents. Their parents depend on them to earn a living. So we have to be very certain that we address this. And the way to address it and to incentivize people to take advantage of this education institution is giving palliatives. The same palliatives you give them when you run for election, offer them the same thing to go to school. If your child go to school, minimum 2 hours a day, go to school, because we know that some of them work, some of them go out and hawk services to make money for the family. 2 hours a day is all we need to turn an illiterate society into a literate one. Get these kids into this building anytime during the day, no specific hours, just insist for every parent. If you have a child that misses 1 day a week of 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, you don't get your palliative for the month. If you have 2 kids, if one of them miss any class, you don't get a palliative for either of them. So if we're giving 10,000 naira per child or 15,000 naira per child, if you have 2 kids, you get 30,000 naira a month, but each of those kids must attend class with AI 2 hours a day. The thing we have to understand is the capacity of education to transform how people see and view life. I'm going to give you a quick example. I can take an Almajiri kid off the street of Kaduna who sits on the street and begs for food every day and teach him AI prompt, how to prompt, and teach him how to use AI to do graphic design. And I guarantee you today, in 30 days, he will make more money than most people that graduated from college. In 30 days, if I teach him prompt engineering to do graphic design using AI, and I register them on a work platform like Fiverr, he will make more money than most people that graduated from Lagos State University in a month. So when you take a kid like that who sits on the street, who could be converted into a Boko Haram terrorist, who suddenly becomes a prompt engineer without ever attending a formal education, imagine what could happen in Nigeria if we integrate AI. And it's not about formal education. It shouldn't all be about formal education. There's so many ways we can do AI. I talked earlier about artisans, carpenters, painters who do shoddy works that can meet international standard, our informal education system. Why don't we get them into those classrooms? Video classes, video training on how to paint correctly, how to do carpentry correctly, how to build homes correctly, how to be bricklayers correctly. And then partner with industries and businesses for their practical classes at the end of their AI training, and you will develop an international standard, world-class artisan in the country. AI can transform education and create a middle-class society in Nigeria very quickly. One of the challenges I faced was, how do we ensure attendance verification? For me, it's a question a lot of people ask me as I model this idea through my mind. And one of the things I said to everybody is, look, Technology can do all this, okay? As Ms. Amusu mentioned in the beginning, my tech career started as a GPS expertise in the areas of GPS technology, tracking people, assets, solutions, and things of that nature. We can install this equipment. We can track them. We can tell who sits in front of them. We can tell if somebody is trying to steal property from the building. We can tell if a student is sitting there or somebody is sitting on behalf of the student. We can monitor, we can verify. We can build technology to help us verify to ensure that these students are taking classes. We can integrate Vision AI, where when a student comes to class and register for the class, we register their image. When they get into the class to take class, Vision AI can identify their image to see if that's the person that's supposed to be attending the class or if somebody else sitting on their behalf. So many things we can do to make sure the system works. It's not complicated at all. We can deploy, as I mentioned earlier, human wisdom plus AI intelligence. Have these teachers, okay, engage AI. Assign X number of tutors for each local government and give each student, children, maybe 20 to 30 students to manage with the AI and put those tutors in there. Let AI do the teaching. The teachers get the data, the performance data from the AI. They analyze the data. They sit down with each student individually. They tell AI the teaching methodology, the strategy, to teach the student. There has to be a collaboration between AI and the teachers. A lot of AI education tools eliminate teachers from the process. I don't believe that's the way to go. I always believe the best way to take advantage of AI is every time you integrate humans and AI together, you get the best performance out of AI. Okay, interactive and personalized training, which is what I was talking about. The teachers get the statistics. This kid is not good in math. He's doing very well in reading and graphic designs and things of that nature, but he's not very good in math. Give him basic math classes and move him to the courses that he's good at. This kid is not good in English, but is very good in chemistry. Take him into the science field and teach him the things that he needs to do. This is the job of the teacher. The AI kick the statistics and the data out to us, analyze the data and give us information about each student, and we look for ways to improve the student's education. This is what we call adaptive AI learning system, personalized training, enhanced student engagement, resource provisioning. They don't have to buy books anymore. They don't need any material. All of those things will be uploaded into the classes. One of the things that is very, very important, however, for this program to be very successful, as AI train the students, that the government partner them with industry. Look, one of the things that made Germany very successful in the 30s, in the 40s, and the 50s, if anyone goes back and look what Germany did, they don't have a lot of college graduates in Germany, but they have a highly educated workforce. Because as soon as their children leave secondary school, they partner them with Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, all these tech industries. And that's why the Germans have the best, one of the best tech industries in the world. It's not about getting a college degree. It's about developing that strong skill. Those assessments that come back from AI give us the information we need to know about every student, and how to partner them with teach them the right education and partner them with the right industry. That's when we're going to have a highly intelligent, highly literate, highly competent workforce in Nigeria. And AI also help children with disability, because even for students that can't go into those buildings, making AI available to them means they can study in their homes. Okay, they can study in their home. They don't have to come to the building. They don't need to go through a whole lot, but the government can take on this responsibility of providing the tools necessary, powered with free internet. That's one of the things I want to talk about. When we talk about building education centers with 500 computers, allowing students to go in for 2 hours a day so anybody in the community can become educated. The government must mandate every wireless carrier as part of their license to provide service in Nigeria, to provide network access to all of our education facility in every single local government. We can invest in solar power to power each one of those buildings so we don't have power issues and we don't have network issues. Because in every society, even here in the US, there are certain things the network carriers are required to give away. The US government give away mobile phone to older, low-income people for free. The network service carrier have to provide access to the internet. Nigerian government can demand that. And when you do that, you build the schools in all 774 local government, you power them with solar, you make sure they have internet access, and you can turn Nigeria into 100% literate society by doing these formal things to teach people. One of the things that we have to do, however, and I think Dr. Olaosebikon will speak much more about this, is enhancing teacher training and support. One of the challenges is that the teachers in Nigeria, while some of them are very good, there's a problem about the quality of teaching in Nigeria as well. So one of the things that we would also do is cause those teachers themselves to take additional classes using AI. To help them drive professional development of the teachers so they can be better at what they do in training some of the students that they have to train. And so in conclusion, we're bridging rural and urban education divide by bringing education to every local government. We're not only teaching people in the urban areas, we're also educating people in the rural areas. The result is we're transforming education by using AI. We're bringing intelligence into the community. We're taking people out of poverty straight into middle class. I just talked about taking a kid off the street and turning him into a prompt engineer, making more money than people that went to college. These are some of the things that AI can do. Transformative education system. AI can help us address some of the education challenges. Now parents don't have to worry about books. They don't have to worry about how they send their kids to school. They don't have to worry about a lot of these things. I know people like my colleague who's going to be joining next are going to be concerned. Are we going to get rid of our universities and our institution of higher learning? No, because the government can create criteria as to who can attend these schools. The objective of these schools is to address illiteracy, not to eliminate the current institutions of learning that we have in a nation. So implementing AI ethically can create inclusive learning environment that cater to diverse student needs and background and help us improve the literacy rate in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That was very informative, comprehensive, and engaging presentation indeed. Thank you so much, sir. I love the disruptive ideas, practical solutions to real problems. Thank you again. So it's time for us to have a short commercial break, and we will be right back from after this advert from one of our sponsors. And don't forget that it will be time yet for another presentation, but you may send in your comments if you have any or questions. We will look at them when we have the Q&A session. So we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Maya Robotics. We offer a range of AI-powered tools to help enhance your productivity and provide personal assistance. I'm Maya, your personal AI assistant. With our personal assistant tools, you can train your AI to understand your preferences and needs, allowing it to assist you with tasks such as paying bills, online shopping, calendar management, research, and more. As an education and study assistant, our AI agent provides personalized learning experiences using intelligent tutoring with adaptive learning systems that focus on areas of weaknesses for improvement. Our AI-powered sales agents can help drive sales through business websites, guiding customers to make informed purchasing decisions. To learn more about my AI Robotics AI solution, visit www.myairobotics.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Next, we have a very special presentation by Dr. Olushola Isaac Olaoshibikon. No doubt another man of enviable accomplishments. Dr. Olaoshibikon is a distinguished academic, professional counselor, and seasoned educational psychologist with over 3 decades of experience in teaching, research, and counseling. A registered member with the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria and the Association of Professional Counselors of Nigeria, Olushola has risen through the ranks while delivering superb services at reputable academic institutions in the public and private sectors. Currently serving as a senior lecturer at the renowned University of Medical Sciences, Undo, Dr. Olaoshibikon specializes in guidance and counseling, family and relationship therapy, adolescent development, and educational psychology. His publications in national and international journals and training sessions make him a valued resource for students, professionals, and organizations seeking expert guidance on counseling, career development, and family wellness. Beyond academia, Dr. Isaac is actively involved in community service and leadership. His work in community counseling and conflict resolution has helped individuals and families to navigate complex life challenges, fostering stronger and healthier relationships. It is interesting to note that Olushola is a talented musician, being proficient in playing not one or two, but 6 musical instruments. Perhaps when we have him on again, we'll give him time to play some of the instruments. Dr. Olaoshibikon's presentation is titled AI Solutions for Special Needs Education and Psychosocial Care in Nigeria. He will discuss the major gaps in the Nigerian education system and highlight various related issues, such as weak curriculum, inadequate financing, and infrastructure. He will also suggest how AI-powered solutions may be leveraged to make significant strides in improving literacy rates. You are welcome, sir. Please go ahead. You have 25 minutes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon all. I hope I can be heard now. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So I say good afternoon once again. The topic we are considering today is a very, very good one and very, very key for educational development in Nigeria, especially as we have listened to Mr. Aladeshi, how AI can transform, can help the unreached, the neglected in the country. So what we are considering on this session is how AI can bridge education gap and literacy in Nigeria. Before we continue, we want to have a look at the state of education in Nigeria as it is today. You know, a World Economic Forum 2017 and 2018 revealed that out of 137 countries, Nigeria ranked 128 in primary education and 117th in the tertiary education. That shows that there are a lot of gaps that are involved in this educational challenge we have in the country. So we want to look at those challenges, and they are in three categories. We have the access to education, the gap in access to education. You know, where the populace experience limitation to appropriate education. In these areas, we have the issues of out-of-school children. As Mr. Aladeshi was during his presentation, he talked about the young ones in the north, the Amajeris. Many of them are out of school, and these are the part of the problem we are having in the country. We also have the problem of low completion rates, one which we can call dropouts, school dropouts, where for marriage, for lack of finances by parents to complete the student's education. We also have low percentage of transitions between educational tiers, you know, from primary to secondary. Some students will not be able to, you know, transit from primary to secondary and from secondary to higher education. Then we also have the situation of adult illiteracy in the country. And we also have educational emergencies among the challenges domiciled in the access to education gap. Then the second, coming after access to education, is the quality of education, that even those that are in school, those that have access to education, the quality of education that they have, the challenges that result in inadequate equipping capacity of the available education that we have. Schools not having. Then the third one is the outcome gap. Okay, they've gone to school. So what's the outcome? What are they coming out with? So that one covers the human capital implications of the low skills that result from this low quality education that we have in the country. So let's go back to the first of the three challenges in the quality of education we have in the country. The quality of gap, that is the quality of education that I experience all over Nigeria. That's the problem of low quality education is fueled by four key interrelated issues. Four. And the first among the four is the weak curriculum. You know, curriculum is very, very key in the quality. It is the foundation. There are many things that come into curriculum development. And so weak curriculum is a critical issue in education. Our curriculum is weak, in fact, somehow outdated and overloaded. Overloaded to the extent that most of the content of the curriculum are not even relevant to the present realities of the needs of the society. And so such weak curriculum are fighting for relevance in the context of the country's needs as it is and in the world today. You know, the curriculum also is having challenge of top-to-down approach. That is, in the development of the curriculum, teachers' inputs are not considered. You know, in the development, teachers are the ones that will implement the curriculum. But where teachers' conditions are not included, when it is the time to implement the curriculum, there will be challenges and there will be problems. Then under it, we also have the inadequate quantitative research into understanding the cultural and psychosocial dynamics of the students. Not many research are being carried out by the curriculum developers, to know the to consider the cultural. When Mr. Aladeshi was speaking, he said he could use AI to present various subjects in Yoruba, in Hausa, in Fulani, in Fufude, in Igbo, and all that. You know, that is what we are talking about here. But in the curriculum development as it is today, those are lacking. Then we also have the outdated, overloaded, and inflexible structure of the curriculum content at the various tiers of our education, at the primary level, at the secondary, even the higher education as it is today. And still talking about it, then at the implementation level of the curriculum, there is the problem of weak management that is disconnected from teachers' instructional realities. Instructional realities because the teachers are the ones that are faced with implementation, and they are the ones that are on ground. And so when teachers who are the one on ground implementing this curriculum are not involved in the curriculum development, as we have seen earlier, it becomes a challenge. There is conflict. And in that wise, the actual aim, the actual benefit that the students or the pupils are supposed to achieve will not be realized. Then we also have the problem of low capacity of teachers to implement the curriculum. We shall see that thereafter. Then the second in it is the teachers and the teaching issues. The teachers themselves that we have talked about, that they are not involved in the top to bottom, state of implementation and the development of the curriculum. The quality of education is impossible without quality and qualified teachers. If teachers are not qualified to teach, if teachers are not trained to teach, it will be impossible to have quality education anywhere, because there are rules guiding the education. There is the pedagogy issue, and if one has not been schooled along that pedagogical areas of teaching, presentation, planning and presentation of teaching will be adversely affected. So we have inadequate qualification challenge. The least qualification for teaching should be first degree. And we have in schools where teachers don't even have NCE to teach. Then we have education sector analysis by federal government and World Bank and UNESCO that was done. In that analysis, at least 20% of the teachers in public basic education schools are not qualified to teach. You can see that. And what we have about is nearly doubled in private schools. Then we have the problem of low education in most of early childhood care development and education tier, as only 1 out of 10 public ECCDE teachers holds a bachelor's or postgraduate diploma in education. The majority of the teachers in public schools, that is 60%, hold a Nigerian certificate in education. At primary level, while only 15% have a bachelor's degree in education. And these are the teachers. If 15% of the teachers have bachelor's degree, 15%, and you can imagine most of these 15% will be in the urban areas. What happens to the rural areas? What about those who are not where there is internet, there is power supply? Those schools and the low-grade schools. So the situation deteriorates in private schools, as we have seen. We have 4 out of 10 teachers lack NCE. That is Nigerian Certificate in Education. So we have the official requirement for teaching at secondary school in is a bachelor's degree. 1/3 of teachers in public junior high schools hold an NCE. 1/3, 1/3. And about 20% do not have a professional teaching qualification. Let's have a look at this quality gap that we are talking about. Oh God, I have issue citing this. Because of the time, the figure we have here reveals the percentage of teachers in private schools, in public schools, the higher education, and the percentage of their qualification to teach in Nigerian schools. So let's look at the B part. Aside from lack of pre-service training, that is, teachers who do not have the required qualification to teach and are teaching. Teachers who are teaching, who are in schools, they also lack in-service professional development opportunities, even those in public schools. Schools owned and run by the government, state and federal. 67.5% of teachers in public schools and 85.3% of private schools have not attended any in-service training in 5 years, as reported by National Personnel Audit, UBEC, Universal Basic Education in 2022 report. Then we also have the perception of teaching profession itself. Many teachers who are in schools, they see teaching as something that is a stepping stone. They say, so to say, some of them went to colleges of education just because they have nothing to do. Those who went into university to study education, they just go there to have a degree. At least let them say I have a degree, but they are ashamed. A study by Ikiye and Enekeme in 2020 revealed that 3 out of 4 student teachers did not willingly choose education paths. 3 out of 4. You can see how bad it is in terms of quality of teachers that we have teaching in Nigeria. You know, they accepted to study education team course just to get a tertiary degree. When you find, some of them still find themselves teaching, and as they are teaching, they are not teaching with their whole heart. They are not really totally committed. They are also looking outside over the fence to see what they can do, where they can get job outside teaching. And so commitment is lacking in that wise. 72% of them were ashamed to introduce themselves as future teachers. Then, aside teachers' qualification, in-service training, and the perception of the teaching qualification, we also look at the infrastructural problem. Education infrastructure is the element within the learning environment that make learning accessible and easy. They include classrooms, laboratories, learning tools, piece of equipment, school facilities. Education exists that high quality infrastructure facilitates better educational quality and outcomes. The state of educational infrastructure in Nigeria is horrible. This picture being displayed here is a figure, a school in Niger State, sourced from the cable, where we have students sitting on the floor. I wonder how much of the quality of education these children we have. But with introduction of artificial intelligence powered education, the situation of these students can be made better. Even even if they are almajiris. So with all these problems, let's now see where AI comes in solving this problem or ameliorating the challenges that we have in the country. Because as it is now, the world has moved on, where Nigeria is still far, far, far behind. And we now see what AI can do. We want to bridge the gap. Bridging the access gap, the access to education. How do we bridge that gap? We have heard that majority of Nigerian students or children who are supposed to be in school do not have access to education. We have looked at that earlier on. So how can AI help to solve this problem? AI-powered education could have online and blended learning platforms, which can provide access to quality education for marginalized communities. Marginalized communities that do not have access to education, communities where teachers will not want to be posted to go and teach, communities where the government has neglected because of political considerations, especially in rural areas. AI-powered mobile learning apps can offer interactive learning experiences accessible via mobile devices. We had earlier on when Mr. Adeshi was talking about distribution of phones by the government, mobile devices to reach students with limited access to traditional educational institutions. AI-powered education can bring about virtual classroom to connect students with qualified teachers, regardless of geographical location, to provide access to quality education. Now let's go to the quality gap. We have looked at the access gap. There's the quality of education that we have. AI-powered intelligence tutoring system can provide personalized learning experiences, adapting to individual students' learning style, the pace, whether it's a slow learner or a fast learner, and the abilities. AI-powered content recommendation engines can suggest relevant, high-quality educational resources tailored to students' needs and learning objectives. You know, where we said there is a problem of top to bottom in the design of curriculum for schools. AI can come in that area. AI-powered teacher support system can provide educators with real-time feedback, guidance, and resources to improve teaching practices and student outcomes. Then let's now look at the outcome gap. Here we have students who have graduated and having issues. Many students go to school, they have issues with expressing what they have spent years to study in school, to practice it. Many hold degrees, many hold certificates that they cannot defend. So let's look at how we can bridge the outcome gap. AI-powered predictive analytics can identify at-risk students, enabling early interventions and targeted support to improve academic outcomes. So the learning analytics powered by AI can provide insight into student learning behavior, helping educators optimize instructional strategies and improve student outcomes by so doing. AI-powered career guidance and counseling. Systems can provide students with personalized career recommendations based on their interests, based on their skills, and also of their strengths. Then let's look at other initiatives there, apart from the outcome and all that. AI-powered education research can be used to analyze large data sets, providing valuable insights for education research and policy development in Nigeria. I hope the government or those in power, those in the industry of education in Nigeria will want to take this advantage, use the opportunity to improve education. AI-driven education policy development can also aid policymakers in developing data-driven policies, addressing specific education challenges and gaps in Nigeria. We can also use AI-based educational monitoring and evaluation to help monitor and evaluate education programs, providing real-time feedback and recommendations for improvement. It can also be used, at least AI-powered solutions. Nigeria can bridge the education access gap. Access to education, regardless whether it is rural area or whether they are in the cities. Even the marketplaces, adults who are in the markets can also benefit from it if the government really want to have a look at AI-powered solutions, to provide high quality education for all students, regardless of their background or geographical location. We just look at how AI can help improve education in Nigeria, but let's look at the literacy rate in Nigeria. A report of a study between 2020 and 2021, which involved male and female, revealed that in some Saharan Africa countries, only 1 in 3 adults aged over 15 is literate. I think Mr. Aladishi talked about that earlier in his first presentation. This number is determined by the rate at which individuals in different age groups understand simple general statements. The global literacy rate shows massive discrepancies between the rates in the North America and sub-Saharan Africa, as both occupy the opposing sides of the scale. In North America, it has the lowest literacy rate, while sub-Saharan Africa has the highest adult illiteracy rate. In 2022, the global literacy rate was 87.01%, while the illiteracy rate in North America and sub-Saharan Africa was 1.36% and 32.28% respectively, according to the study by Hill-Homer 2024. The World Economic Forum knows that global literacy growth has gradually risen over the last few years, yet sub-Saharan Africa still presents the worst rate globally. In 2016, the adult literacy rate was 65%, while the youth literacy rate was 75%. By 2024, that was last year, the figure had increased significantly to 86.3% for both sexes, with males presenting a rate of 90% and females 82.7%. Also, the gender distribution of literacy rates in many countries places women at a disadvantage, including Nigeria. In 2020, global adult literacy rates were 90% for males and 87% for females. In 2024 survey shows that the literacy rate for developed nations consistently stood at 96% for adults, while the least developed countries presented an average of 65%. Nigeria's literacy rate in 2010 was 68.11%. But by 2021, it had grown to 13.9% to 77.62%. The latest data on Nigeria literacy rate in 2024 shows 59.57%. So what we have just presented shows that there is a challenge with illiteracy in Sub-Saharan Africa, including Nigeria. What we are concerned about Nigeria. How can AI power solutions come to this challenge? How can they rise up to this challenge? How can it be used to this challenge? I want to say that Nigeria can make significant strides in improving literacy rates, especially among marginalized communities. There are so many of them in the country. Forget about the consideration given during JAM results that we always have, saying some areas that are educationally disadvantaged. So we can use personalized learning platforms, adaptive learning systems which can adjust to individuals' learners. Reading levels, learning styles, and pace. They can also have interactive learning reading materials such as ebooks, audiobooks, and multimedia resources to engage learners and improve reading comprehension to ensure proper literacy. We can also use of intelligent tutoring systems, AI intelligent tutoring systems. This one includes use of virtual reading coaches, which can provide one-on-one support, offering real-time feedback and guidance on reading skills. We can also have a reading analytics, which may be used to analyze learners' reading habits, identify areas of strength and weakness, and providing personalized recommendations for improvement. The use of AI language learning tools can also be employed. Language learning apps, which can help learners improve their reading and writing skills in English language, as well as other Nigerian languages. There is no barrier to the use of that language learning apps, which will be developed. Speech recognition technology can be used to help learners improve their pronunciation and speaking skills. The problem of access to digital resources. Use of AI libraries can provide access to a vast collection of digital books, articles, and other reading materials. Use of AI digital literacy platform can be used to offer interactive lessons, quizzes, and games to help learners develop digital literacy skills. The AI-powered solution teacher support and development, because the input of teachers is very, very key here. The success of literacy in Nigeria and the use of AI solutions, teachers are very, very key, as we look at it in the former presentation. The use of AI teacher training programs can help educators develop the skills they need to effectively integrate AI-powered literacy tools into their classrooms. So teachers will be trained in the existence and usage of those tools. AI-powered lesson planning tools can also be applied to assist teachers in creating personalized lesson plans tailored to the needs of their students. Then we look at AI solution in the area of community engagement and outreach. AI-powered literacy outreach programs can be used to help reach marginalized communities, providing access to literacy resources and support. Community engagement platform can also be used to facilitate communication and collaboration between learners, teachers, and community members. We have the learning disabilities all over Nigeria, but the population differ from one region of Nigeria or from one state of Nigeria to the other. And even these ones too, they need to be properly educated. We need to teach them. Learning must take place. You know, if they are properly schooled, if learning takes place in their life, there will be a significant permanent change in their behavior. We had earlier when it was said that it is the students or the youths or kids that are not educated that are ready tools by those who use them to go and plant bombs and to engage in kidnapping. So the disabilities, the use of AI assistive technology can help learners with disabilities, such as dyslexia, by providing text-to-speech functionality, font size adjustment, and other accessibility features. AI can help create personalized learning plans for learners with disabilities, tailoring instruction to their individual needs and abilities. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, sir. You're most welcome. Thank you for that very incisive analysis. I was actually shocked to learn that in underserved areas, the children's education system is actually disrupted, particularly in the rural areas, politically motivated focus or lack of focus. However, I found some of the figures a little hopeful. It looks like, although it is slow, the literacy rate in Nigeria is experiencing a steady increase. Let's hope it moves forward from there. Thank you again, sir. So it's time for another short break. When we return from this final commercial break, we will call for audience participation. Some questions have come in already. If you have questions, please, this is the time to post them. If you want to do an audio-visual presentation, raise your electronic hand. Thank you so much. Commercial break now. Thanks.
Liam had been chasing a big deal for weeks. The conversations were promising. The prospect seemed interested, and then silence. No response to emails, no returned calls. It felt like the opportunity had vanished overnight. He replayed their last conversation in his head. What went wrong? Did he push too hard? Not enough? The uncertainty was frustrating. Then he turned to MyEyeCells. With its built-in curation AI, mines the conversation for sentiment and opinions, and he uncovered the real issue. His prospect lost interest when pricing came up in the discussion. Instead of seeing value, they saw cost, and it was all disguised in the conversation. Armed with this insight, Liam adjusted his approach. He re-engaged the prospect with a tailored follow-up that focused on outcomes, not numbers. The result? A revived conversation and a closed deal. The difference? MyEyeCells pinpointed exactly where interest dropped instead of leaving him guessing. Where are your prospects losing interest? MyEyeCells has the answer. Visit MyEyeCells to find out.
Had been in sales long enough to know that not every pitch landed the same way. Some prospects were hooked from the start, others nodded along, then disappeared without a word. One day, after what he thought was a perfect sales pitch, his prospect went cold. Frustrated, he turned to MyEyeCells for answers. What he found surprised him. His best performing pitches weren't about features. The ones that converted. They focused on the customer's deeper concerns, their risks, their goals. MyEyeCells, through its conversation-driven intelligence, pinpoints why some sales pitches win and and others lose. It compares real customer interactions, highlighting the exact words, tone, and messaging that drive conversions. James refined his approach: less talking, more listening, and speaking directly to what prospects cared about most. The results? More closed deals, fewer lost opportunities. Your sales pitch might be costing you conversions. Ready to fix it? See what works best with My Sells.
I believe we have one more advert to go. Go ahead.
Nigerians are blazing the trail all over the world and everywhere they are. From arts to business, academia to engineering, medical to architecture, sciences to government, sports to politics. Their contributions have shaped the societies where they are in the diaspora. Nigerians are always among the best everywhere in the world, from Africa to Asia, Europe to the Pacific, the Caribbean and Americas.
It is no news that Nigerians across the globe are
Is that the end of the advert? Okay, shall I presume? Okay, you're welcome back, esteemed guests. The webinar floor is now open for an interactive session with two presenters today on the subject: how AI can bridge education gaps and increase literacy in Nigeria. Do not forget to keep your contribution to 2 minutes only, and to mute your microphone at the end of your input. While we wait for hands to be raised, if any, let us give our presenters the chance to answer a few questions that came in the chat box. From King Wale Ade, this is his question: how can Nigerians in the diaspora assist you to make your propositions a reality? This is a question directly to Mr. Aladeshuyi. Sir, would you like to answer that?
Thank you so much, Wale, for that question. And I know you've been very involved in some of the things that we've been doing in the diaspora. You and I have known each other for quite some time. So your question does not surprise me at all. I think many of us in the diaspora have contacts and network within a network that can bring this project to life. However, we will still need the Nigerian government involvement. And let me explain some of the ideas that crossed my mind, because one of the challenges of bringing new ideas to Nigeria is implementation and government participation. And the participation of government is usually challenging when you want the government to spend money. So one of the approaches was to find a way to deploy this without asking government to spend any money. And the way to do that is we have to look at global NGOs who are interested in investing in African communities for development. The education centers that I'm talking about in all 774 local government, there are NGOs and grants from the World Bank that can build those facilities. There are NGOs that can fund solar power energy to those buildings. There are organizations like myself that can provide the AI tools for the education. Once you get all of that out of the way, which I believe is the basis for the question from Mr. Wale, is that those of us in the diaspora can reach out to NGOs that can bring this capability or these resources to bear on the project. But on the other side is where we need the government, which Mr. Olaose touched on very, very eloquently, is the curriculum that the AI will teach. How do we influence that curriculum to make sure the quality of education is improved? How do we get the government to create a policy that imposes on the network carriers that all 774 learning environments will have network access? How do we convince the government that it is worthwhile to provide mobile devices to people in the rural communities that may not be able to get to the education centers to learn? How do we convince government to pay to identify highly qualified tutors that will be assigned to each local government learning environment? So there are two sides to this. There's a market side, the independent side, which can be handled by those of us in the diaspora. And then there's a local side that needs to be handled by the government. And that's where the rubber meets the road. How do we convince the government? And part of the things that I also talk about, we have to remember, we talk about the Almajiris in the northern states, and we have some of those situations in the southern states as well. How do we convince the parents to let their kids attend these classrooms? I like the idea of providing mobility, but I prefer the idea of making someone go to a learning center. And I'll talk about that briefly. It indicates interest. It indicates determination. If you're providing mobile devices to people who don't have the incentive to do this, then you may be wasting time and money. I know we can do that, but we prefer to do that only for disabled people that we know for physical reason cannot make it to the learning centers. But everyone else, look, just like we do in business, you don't hire people that don't have the incentive to earn money. Why are you giving them money? Why are you paying them? You don't just tell people, oh, you need to go to this school. Give them a reason to go there and force them to go there. Okay? We can't make things too easy. It's like offering something for free and not demanding anything in return. Then it loses its value. Insist that you will give them all of these things. But what you ask in return is their participation, their active participation. And then you use the palliatives as a carrot and stick to get them to the learning centers.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We have quite a few questions here. There's John, an educator based in Jigawa State in the house. These questions, I'm just going to let either of the presenters answer. The first one is this: how will I implement the teaching of students subjects in their own language? Who wants to answer that?
I think I can answer that question.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Interestingly, in Nigeria, locally on the ground, there's a young kid, only 26 years old, who's managed to create a language portal where your AI can speak in the 3 major Nigerian languages right now.
Wow.
Okay? And we've taken steps to see how we can assist him in making this product successful. And that's part of what we will do with the education tools, so that all of the curriculum that you upload into the system, AI will be able to read them out in our local languages and teach students in local languages. And we can expand the language base, because that's one of the hindrances to education in Nigeria. I mean, you have a lot of teenagers in their 18, 20, 30 years old that don't speak English. How do you turn them into literate people if you don't teach them in the local language? We must go to local languages if Africa is going to catch up with the rest of the world.
Okay, I think perhaps you may want to give, well, a website that people who want specific information on these solutions can go to, you know, so that they can, because we really are out of time, okay? But I still have a few questions more. The next question is this: knowing that WAEC, NECO, and JAM are standard exams in Nigeria, how do we handle AI bias in providing students with tailored learning materials that are approved by these regulatory authorities? Should we give a chance to Dr. Olaoshe Bikon?
Yes, please.
Okay. Dr. Olaoshe Bikon, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here, ma.
Okay. Did you hear the question?
Yes, can I have the question again?
Okay. Knowing that WAEC, NECO, and JAM are standard exams in Nigeria, how do we handle AI bias in providing students with tailored learning materials that are approved by these regulatory authorities?
Yes, the JAM, WAEC, and NECO exams are not exams that students are privy to when you teach using AI. The learning outcome is specific. The learning outcome of every educational activity will be designed. Now, if I want to say I'm going to Lagos, I can say it, I can present it in various ways. It's not that after all, we still have books written and that students read. And when questions are set on those books, candidates or students still answer them in various ways. So it's not going to be AI bias. The designer of the AI, in this wise, Mr. Ladeshuyi will assist in that area. The designer will have made it in a way that it's not that they go to AI. AI, during writing examinations, for instance, students don't go into the exam with systems. They go with their brain, understand what they have been exposed to. The instructional objective will have been set. It is the instructional objectives that the schools and teachers will use to set the questions. And then when those responses from the students are being scored, it is what the expected learning outcomes will be that it will use to do the grading. But gadgets for usage of AI will not be used or not be brought into examination centers. And Mr. Ladeshuyi can continue from that.
Okay, let me just talk about a few things. First of all, I understand where the question is going. First and foremost, you have to understand one of the problems with standard examination is a lot of these examinations questions repeat themselves. Students have the habit of going back to prior exams and studying them. One of the things that AI brings to the table is it generates the questions for you every year, and they are never the same.
Oh dear.
So the students must study to pass. That's the first thing. The second thing in AI learning is that you can actually program your AI to detect students that are cheating. For example, in our AI education tool, the AI never reads for the students, never perform exams for the student, never answer any questions for the student. It's been trained to only respond to a student only after a student has written a paper, have taken the test, or have completed an assignment. It is only then will the AI engage the student and go through the exam, the documents with the student, point out to the student the mistakes that the students made, and ask the student to retake those exams and those tests without assisting the student to take it. So I do understand some of the concerns about people using AI to cheat and all of those things. Those things can be addressed in the way you train your AI to behave.
Thank you. You actually started to answer the next question, which is this. Malpractice is a major problem in education. It even affects the quality of teachers we have today. How do we ensure AI is not used to enhance malpractice, but rather deployed to avoid it?
Well, one of the things that you can also do is you can stamp document. You can get your AI to stamp document. In other words, if you have a teacher that's supposed to teach a subject learn the subject and teach the subject, but the teacher uses AI to create the document that they're going to teach. AI can be automated to stamp the document that said this document was produced by AI.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Olaoshebikon, would you like to add to that? We have one more question. Shall I go ahead?
Please do, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Final question. With regard to AI predictive analytics, how can private schools in underserved communities latch on this very limited devices to improve each child's learning performance?
Yes.
I think maybe this question has to do with sharing of devices. I don't know. You must understand it better than I.
Again, it goes to the point I'm making. You eliminate devices when you put education centers in the local government areas. So everybody have access to learn.
Okay, thank you. Very brief, thank you so much. So we come to a close of the webinar, but not quite. Thank you for attending this edition of the US-Nigeria Business Council Business Talk. On behalf of all of us, I thank our speakers. I thank the council, ably presided over by Engineer Titus Uluokere, for a rewarding time spent this Saturday. The curtain drops for me here, but do not go away. The next voice you will hear will give the closing remarks. Thank you. And I hope we can do this again in another couple of months. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody from Nigeria. I'm Taiwo Adekoye from Nigeria. I hope we can hear me. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Taiwo, we can hear you. We can hear you.
It's been a wonderful time together at this webinar. We want to appreciate the presenters, the speakers, Mr. Aladesui, Kayode Aladesui, and Mr. Olaoshebikon. We have been extremely enlightened. I want to believe everybody has picked one or two things from this beautiful presentation. AI has come to stay, and we believe Nigeria is going to do the needful and accept AI. So thank you so much, everyone, for being part of this presentation, this webinar. It's been a fantastic event for all of us, and we look forward to seeing you in the next webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. And to our host, Engineer Titus, we say thank you so much too. And the moderator, Madam Amusu, we are very grateful to you too. It has been a very fantastic presentation, and I want to say, let's do this again next time. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.